Thrawn Treason is finally here, plus we get Luke Skywalker running into a Force sensitive before the events of The Empire Strikes Back on this week's episode of Star Wars Weekly. Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Every single week I break down the latest in Star Wars continuity that can include the comics, novels, TV series, and more. I've been waiting for this week for a while because we have another Timothy Zahn novel. This is his third Thrawn novel based in canon, and this is Thrawn Treason. I also got this really cool poster that comes to the Barnes & Noble edition. We have a female Chiss character that is Admiral Arlani, followed by Eli Vanto, and you also have the book's cover on that poster too, so pretty sweet if you get it at Barnes & Noble. So this book, mind you, I have not finished it yet. I am over halfway through the book, and it's only been out for a day, so that right there will tell you I'm really liking this book quite a lot. So my first impressions are, without giving anything away, this is set kind of midway through Season 4 of Rebels. It's all framed around the moment in Star Wars Rebels Season 4 when Thrawn is ordered by Grand Moff Tarkin to go back to Coruscant, where he has to have a meeting about the TIE Defender program versus Director Orson Krennic's Stardust, aka the Death Star program. He's worried about the funding, so they have to figure that out. So that's kind of where this book starts. So we have that whole thing going on with what's going on with all these political machinations. But then in the background, you have in Thrawn, he had sent Eli Vanto back with the Chiss Ascendancy, his own people who are out in the unknown regions. So now we have Eli Vanto, who wasn't mentioned at all in the second Thrawn novel, Thrawn Alliances. He is back in the forefront of this story, along with the rest of Thrawn's people. So it's really interesting so far, without giving anything away again, learning about the Chiss a little bit more, learning about especially Thrawn's role in the hierarchy of the Imperial politics, and being right in between butting heads of Grand Moff Tarkin and Orson Krennic, who both want this Death Star program, especially Orson Krennic. And then you have the Emperor, as you see on the cover there, that is trying to figure out what's going on because everybody's bickering. So I really do like this because Thrawn, right, we know that his politics is not a strong suit. He's very good for tactics. When it comes to kind of maneuvering through all that minutia, it's not really his kind of game. So we are seeing a different kind of side with what Thrawn is having to worry about. He's got his ship, the Chimera, and it's doing its thing, and we have these threats from the unknown region. If you guys have not read Alliances, I'm not going to spoil that for you here, but there are some threats in the unknown regions that directly tie into this novel, which I'm very excited that it ended up being that way. So it feels like it's a really good continuation from the last novel. We're seeing Thrawn, of course, in this novel doing really brilliant tactics that you just gotta love reading this stuff, because the way it unfolds, the way that Timothy Zahn writes these novels, it's so satisfying seeing everything come into play. He's basically like the Sherlock Holmes of the Star Wars universe. So if I were to say right now to go and get this book, I would say, yeah, this is my recommendation to go and get Thrawn Treason. I will have my review up very, very soon, judging by the pace of me reading this book. I'm probably going to be finished within the next day or two. So yes, be on the lookout for that spoiler-free review, and I will have other videos focused on Thrawn Treason in the future as well. So we did have a single issue comic for Marvel this week. We have Star Wars issue number 69. This is part of Rebels and Rogue, so this is part 2. So this is that new creative team. We have Phil Noto on artwork. We have the writer, who is Greg Pak, and they are doing a story that takes place right before the events of The Empire Strikes Back. So we have the Imperials. They have sent all the probe droids out to try to scour the galaxy, trying to find the Rebel base. So we have the Rebels who are coming up with this plan to basically get these probe droids and get them led into a different direction. So we have 3 teams that are split up. We have Han Solo, we have Leia Organa. They have gone to this planet that's very much a crime-ridden planet to try to spark up this conflict, this artificial conflict between these crime groups and the Empire, to try to distract them from what's really going on in the space around them. Then we have Chewie and we have C-3PO, who have gone to this planet that they think is uninhabited to try to just like lure the Imperials in and destroy the unstable planet to help bring down some of the Star Destroyers. Then we have Luke Skywalker, who is going to this rebel refueling station, and he's trying to lure the Imperials away from that station there. So that's basically where all of our characters are right now. We pick up this story. We have Han and we have Leia, and she runs into this guy who his name is Dar Champion. Now he comes from Alderaan, and that's kind of like their contact on this planet, because Leia is trying to use this guy to again try to confuse the Imperials, thinking that these criminals are doing something bad and, you know, gonna get them to infight against each other. So he actually saves them, because at the end of the last issue, Han and Leia are actually captured, or at least held at gunpoint, by these crime people, these criminals, right? So what happens is we get this guy, Dar Champion, he comes in with his staff and he's kicking butt, and he's going to go hand them into the authorities, and then they get busted out because this place is basically all about this crime lord who just is, it's all corruption in that government, basically. So anyway, we have Dar Champion, who is this character that Leia used to know before, and well, she used to have a love interest in him, so we see Han kind of getting a little bit jealous. But this guy is totally cool, and that's what I like about this, is this character Dar Champion. He's a very respectable guy. I like that we learn about his history, about how his father was involved with some shady stuff that eventually got him arrested, and then got his son as well as his wife involved with the trouble, so they spent years trying to figure this out, and that's why she lost connection with them, because they were trying to fight for their lives with the politics and all that. So we see this different side of him, and I like in this story how we're seeing Han and Leia on an artificial honeymoon. You know, that's their cover-up, as they're going to this planet to basically do this thing with the Imperials, but really kind of they're together. So it's almost like their first date in a way. You know, there's no one else there. Another story that was really cool with this is Luke Skywalker. He's going to this planet. It's very much a desert planet. He uses the Force to actually figure out where there might be another probe. By the way, he slices a probe in half, which is pretty badass. We do have the Super Star Destroyer that is commanded by Admiral Ozzel, that was in The Empire Strikes Back, is right there. He's hovering that planet, and we find out that Luke goes into this bar, this cantina, and there's a Force-sensitive girl that ends up, you know, getting his help from this gangster guy while she's gambling, and they go out on this land speeder, and she reveals, hey, I know that you can help me because I could feel that you're strong in the Force. And he's saying, what? And she's like, yeah, I can use the Force. So very interesting there, because we haven't really seen any Force users in this era of Star Wars besides like Kanan Jarrus and Ezra Bridger. So it's cool when they introduce something like that. So I can't wait to see how the interaction is going to be with Luke and another Force sensitive. And finally, my favorite part of all these stories was the C-3PO and the Chewbacca story, because it's very heartwarming. We have Chewie and C-3PO are going to destroy this rock planet because they couldn't scan for any life forms. It finds out that they couldn't scan for life forms because the life forms are actually made out of rocks. There's no organic components to these rocks. They're just held together somehow. Anyways, they have the detonators already set, and the rock people are chasing them away, and, well, C-3PO convinces Chewie that they should turn around, and the reason why is because he's saying, hey, look, I'm also an inorganic, and my life is valuable, so everybody should be the same. And I'm saying a roundabout way about what the message actually was, but for me it was like, wow, this is a really profound moment when C-3PO is revealing, like, hey, look, you know, not everybody's the same. They might be a droid. They might be a rock thing. They could be a human. But we should all respect each other and care for one another. So I like that a lot. But overall, I really like this story. I like how it's a three-pronged approach to different characters in different situations getting put together in ways that's going to enhance their story going forward to where we'll see them again in The Empire Strikes Back. And moving on to my question of the week. This one comes to me on Twitter from James M, the Crazy Gamer Story 1999 at Robin McCormick. He's asking, hashtag Star Wars Weekly, what do you hope to see in the series finale of the Clone Wars when Order 66 happens? So that's been a question I think that's on a lot of people's minds, is how are they going to finish up this epic series, the Clone Wars, especially now that they're coming back just for these last 12 episodes or so, we think. So I think what's going to happen is this going to lead right into the events of Revenge of the Sith, where we're going to hear about Anakin, we're going to hear about Obi-Wan. They're going to be fighting on not Malachor. They're going to be fighting on Mandalore, and they are going to be called away to assist with the Palpatine's rescue from General Grievous, who has infiltrated Coruscant and got him out of there, and they're going to finish it right where we go into Revenge of the Sith. Remember, there's a 3-year gap in between, approximately, between Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. We have over 100 episodes of the Clone Wars, which have slowly bridged the gap from one end of that era to the other. So I think with this, we're going to finally see everything come into fruition. We're going to have Ahsoka, we're going to have Darth Maul, we're going to have Rex. Remember, if you've read the Ahsoka novel, they didn't really know that there was going to be a Clone Wars series revival at that point, so they pretty much told us a lot of what will happen, which is they're on Malachor, and she's got to fight against Darth Maul, and that's why he knows of her already by the time we get to Rebel Season 2, and he's calling her Lady Tano on Malachor. So I think that's going to be how the stories ends, is really, we're going to just bridge right into a seamless transition with Obi-Wan and Anakin flying their Jedi Starfighters going to get Chancellor Palpatine. So if you guys want to get your questions answered by me on next week's episode, it's very simple. There's 2 ways you could do that, either on YouTube or by tweeting me on Twitter. Just make sure you use the hashtag Star Wars Weekly, and I will answer those questions. So next week we could look forward to Age of Resistance Special Number 1. I believe that has BB-8, Emmeline Holdo, as well as Maz Kanata in those short stories. We also have Galaxy's Edge issue number 4, which is really cool because it's going to have a story about Dr. Aphra. Plus, we should be getting a Star Wars Adventures issue number 24. So what did you guys think of this week's releases? Are you reading Thrawn Treason? Are you liking the new arc with the new creative team for Star Wars issue number 69? Let's talk about it all in the comments section below. Guys, if you're new to the channel, welcome. I talk about Star Wars a heck of a lot. I have a lot of book reviews as well as comic reviews on the channel right now. So if that sounds cool to you and you like this video, make sure you go ahead and support the channel by simply subscribing. So that's gonna do it for me, Starrapter. Thank you so much for watching, and may the Force be with you always. Thanks for checking out the video. Please hit that thumbs up symbol. It helps me know that I'm making content that you guys enjoy. And if you enjoyed this video, I also include 2 videos down below you guys should check out. And please consider subscribing to this channel. It helps support me, and it notifies you guys of when I get new videos up on the channel. You can also contact me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Starrapter.